nicotinamide mononucleotide, or NMN, as an anti-aging health product, promises and safety concerns.
I'm Kevin.
I'm Isabel.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Sienna.
So let's get right into it. Why are anti-aging supplements such a big deal now? It's because the world population as a whole is moving towards um, being older. So as you can see in this graph here, the percentage of people aged over, I think, 65 was 9.1% in 2019, and there's a gradual rise until predicted 22.6% of people are going to be aged above 65 in 2100. That's crazy. Imagine going out in public and then more than one in every five people you see is like old people
We're
walking.
old. Ugh.
Yeah. And this kind of goes back to, I don't know, like, remember in AP Human, the demographic
Yeah,
transition model?
and that's
Mhm.
what's no, right. Like the population gets older and older, and
Yeah,
I guess
As
that brings
civilization progresses, yeah.
yeah, that brings about like all these like these new diseases and stuff that we wouldn't have experienced maybe 100, 200 years ago. So that's why, compared to maybe the previous generations, that's why things like cancer, um, diabetes, things like that are more prevalent.
Yeah,
Alzheimer's.
I think
Yeah.
Alzheimer's.
significance of it because like we treat these infectious diseases that like keep us from dying young, but as you grow older, it's inevitable that you get these chronic illnesses. Like,
Exactly, yeah.
And of course, there's like other issues. Like again, in AP research, we talked about in like Japan, which has a really old population. Their society has a bunch of issues. Like they have not much of a working class, and like all of their government spending goes towards old people because like they're weaker. We have to take care of them.
Mhm.
So
And a lot of familial dependence. Like old people live in the home, and then younger generations who work have to support both their kids and their parents, and
right.
maybe even
Mhm.
grandparents.
Yeah. So NMN promising solution for this.
Ooh.
So what exactly is this nicotinamide mononucleotide or NMN? So this is found naturally in our cells, nuclei, mitochondria, and cytoplasm, in specifically placental tissue or bodily fluids. But it
mhm.
can also be derived naturally in soybean, cabbage, cucumber, broccoli, all these plant-based products, but also raw beef and shrimp. But one thing that they noted in the study was that it was actually found in lower concentration in raw beef and shrimp. So maybe like a vegetarian diet can contribute to a um healthier outcome later in life. Like I've
Yeah,
always wondered why people become vegetarian.
ooh.
Maybe
Yeah, yeah.
maybe there are these health benefits that are
Yeah,
actually
Or like
It's
vegan
easier on
people.
your heart and kidneys too.
Uh-huh.
They've
that's
Like not
secretly
too much
cracked the
protein.
code.
yeah.
Yeah, like people who follow like vegan diets, they're always like, or they always like promote this thing of like, oh, a vegan diet is a lot healthier to help you live longer, prevent all these
Mhm.
diseases than maybe like a meat-based diet would.
Yeah. And NMN in a biological standpoint is we'll get more into it, but it's an intermediate of NAD plus biosynthesis.
Mhm.
So, I don't know, Isabel, do you want to just give us a brief cellular respiration review?
Yeah, okay. Just to briefly go over cellular respiration. I'm sure if you're watching this, you know this, hopefully. But in our cells, when we're doing cellular respiration to get you know, cellular energy and the ability to do stuff, we get glucose or whatever like food we're starting off with. It undergoes glycolysis and the cycle de Krebs, the Krebs cycle. Um, and that's to produce ultimately to produce NAD plus um and as well as FAD, but that's like less important. And this gets turned in like the oh my God, what's it called? The electron
Transfer gene.
Transport.
yeah, the electron transfer chain to be used to create cellular energy. So NAD plus is extremely important for all of our like cells biological activity and for them to be able to function, right?
Yeah, they're basically the carriers of energy between the sugar that you take in and the ATP that you generate.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm. So in depth, the significance of NMN in NAD plus synthesizing pathways. There were three pathways that we went over in the study. I think there was the tryptophan pathway,
Yeah.
which wasn't that important, but also the salvage and priest-handler pathway. These are the ones they focused on. And you can see in the figures that NMN here is a direct precursor to NAD plus.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, let's talk about why NAD plus is relevant to us in an aging standpoint. I think yes.
Yeah, okay. So this graphic is really cool because it directly outlines how like the process of aging is related to our NAD plus levels, right? So
Okay, well, with like a decrease in NAD plus, the study noted that it contributes like directly to oxidative stress and damage in your DNA, as well as cognitive impairment, which can be connected to memory disorders and inflammatory conditions, which is similar to a lot of chronic illnesses that a lot of old people obviously suffer from, as well as like a decrease in your mitochondria efficiency, which we talked about with cellular respiration. So like your glucose makes less ATP, so less energy like for you. So you feel like older, right? And so with increased NAD plus, because of this NMN, then like you'll feel younger and you might appear younger as well.
Yeah.
And although this study focuses on like NMN as like an actual like product, there are natural ways that like NAD plus levels can be increased, such as like lower energy intake, caloric restriction, fasting, lowering your glucose content, exercise. And your NAD plus levels can actually naturally also decrease due to like things like poor diet and aging. And so I think it's really cool to see how there's a correlation between like your nutrition and aging, some sort of direct correlation.
Yeah, I think just to reiterate, like the big picture is just as you age, your NAD plus consumption and production, your consumption goes up and your production goes down. So depletion of these NAD plus levels leads to dysregulation of your mitochondria. And then mitochondrial dysregulation ultimately leads to what you see like phenotypically as aging. But like in the figure, they go very specific. As you
into the
age,
enzymes,
you have more enzymes that consume this NAD plus. So sirtuins or like certain receptors, PARP1, which is linked to cancer, and other things of the sort, and of course chronic inflammation and oxidative stress, because this is NAD plus is involved in oxidative metabolism. Of course, as you get stressed, the levels they fluctuate and it leads to aging. So I think this goes into the actual biology of how NMN supplementation increasing NAD plus levels can help reduce aging. So as you age, as you stated before, NAD plus goes down, and NAD plus usually regulates this gene or protein SIRT1. So when this SIRT1 is deactivated, it upregulates HIF1, which then blocks communication between the mitochondria nucleus. And again, mitochondrial dysregulation leads to aging. And NAD plus also has this function in cells where they bind to Nudix homology domains. And think of these just as like receptors where they activate certain pathways. So again, inadequate NAD plus, it means that DBC1 becomes bound to PARP1, which was linked to cancer. And again, DNA damage mutations leads to cancer cells and these chronic illnesses.
Yeah, and it just links back to how mitochondrial decay, just like the hallmark of aging. Yeah.
These were just a few, like 3 of, 21 sample studies in mice that show like the effectiveness of increasing NMN through supplements or injection, I think in this case. And then it clearly has a very high increase of NAD plus in the mice, which would decrease their aging.
Yeah. I think we can just gloss over all these studies. Like this first one, this was a review, so they covered like 20 studies in this. And we picked these because these really represent how NMN can help. So in this one, they did it in Wistar rats, and this IP means intraperitoneal. So they just injected the mouse with NMN, and this higher yield of NAD plus resulting from the NMN activated SIRT1, which we talked about before. So less mitochondrial stress. And these bottom 2 studies, I think they're interesting because it links back to neurovascular type diseases. So it's interesting how mitochondrial stress can be related to what you may develop as Alzheimer's. So these two studies again, like they just injected the mouse with NMN, and it helps repair their neurovascular units and
Mhm.
enhance mitochondrial activity in the brain.
Yep. Okay. So the conclusion of this overall review paper is that NMN is a very promising supplement that can help us replenish these NAD plus levels as we age, and hopefully providing a method of like anti-aging or slowing down aging and like the negative, things that we associate with aging. So like Alzheimer's and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's important to note that in the study, they did highlight that like more research needs to be conducted in a clinical environment because a lot of these supplements are available. I mean, you can do this naturally by eating a veggie-based diet, right? But in high dosages, like the safety concerns are like there. We don't know what's going to happen yet.
Yeah, because they're primarily sold as like food products rather than like pharmaceutical drugs. And so like a pharmaceutical drug would be tailored to the patient, right, in terms of prescription and dosage, and like a nutritional product, like most likely wouldn't. And so they're usually sold in like higher dosages than required, which can actually have adverse effects, especially if you're not aging. If you're like young and you're taking this stuff, it can potentially lead to like you gaining some of these like aging side effects rather than actually helping you. And so I think it's important that obviously more clinical testing is required, but also it be sold rather as a prescribed like customized pharmaceutical product rather than maybe something that just over the counter that you can just go and grab off of like your nutrition shelf.
Right. And I think it's important to note that big picture, the significance doesn't lie in NMN. It lies in how oxidative stress relates to aging. So if we can prevent that oxidative stress, increase those levels of NAD plus as we age, it will have the same effect as NMN supplementation. I was reading up, there's this, you can supplement other factors in those pathways we discussed, and it leads to similar, if not better, effects as NMN. And also I was searching up like NMN supplementation, like maybe I should get some of that. And some people are already, I think we talked about this, but like some people are already selling them in the form of food products. But it's really important to just do your research and not just like
Take it before you're done aging or like
right.
growing.
Yeah. Don't pop NMN like it's a daily multivitamin.
Yeah.
Would you guys take NMN if you could? Like maybe like in the future.
I feel like if in the future, like I got a bunch of wrinkles, I don't know. I don't even know what aging they're referring to, like if it's taking away my wrinkles, improving my eyesight, then yes, I will take it.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm like super weak and frail and more feeble.
Okay. But also by the time we're like 65 plus, I mean, this will probably be very evolved.
Oh, that's true.
Right, you're right. So we don't have to worry about it,
Not for a little bit, no.
Yeah.
I would embrace aging. Enjoy
Okay.
Not like that.
Okay, thanks for joining us as we explore NMN. Make sure to stay tuned for next week's episode.